All right, and we back. So this is very important fake music news we got to talk about. I'm not sure which part of it is fake yet, but we'll figure that out. It's not fake music because we know that's not a thing.
It's not a thing.
It's just very bad music. All right, so
I did identify fake music yesterday though. Zlad.
Oh yeah. Oh, that's right. We
Yeah.
figured out that is the example of actual
And
fake
I
music.
love Zlad, so I
Electronic,
still want people to send me
supersonic.
any fake music, especially if the
You no need put money in my pocket. Or more importantly, from now on, anytime Ghost is brought up, I'm gonna be like, I am the anti-pope.
Do you want to mute that, or which one is it?
What?
Oh, I can hear the whole
Oh,
thing.
oh yeah. Oh yeah, I got you. Yeah, okay, now it's muted. Nobody else could hear it. All right, so this came up because the Cash Me Outside girl is also a rapper now, and has been signed to a major label. Which that isn't. Why is anyone surprised by that? Like, do they not understand that they're like
how
money
exposure
making
works?
companies, right?
Yeah.
That they're like, oh, are you gonna like? In fact, I'm surprised none of those guys signed Jake Paul. You know what I mean?
No, look, my whole thing, I say this constantly. Pro wrestling. Everything is pro wrestling.
Yes.
Like it's like, why invent an angle when there's one right there for
well, did
you?
you saw like this? The article is literally about how Jake Paul thinks what he's doing is pro wrestling.
Yeah, yeah.
And yeah.
But even Cash Me Outside Girl, like that's what I'm saying. Is it's like, oh well, people knew who she was.
Right.
Here's her angle. Like, because do you know how hard it is if you just take somebody, right? And especially when, okay, so we're in a post ability. I don't want to say talent. I want to say we're in a post ability music landscape.
Yeah.
So you can no longer create a narrative around someone's musical ability. I mean, you can, but it's absolute BS.
Right. Who cares?
Right.
Also,
Who cares?
who really
Right.
is going to be like, oh?
So you have to create some narrative, and it has to stick. So those two are. It's difficult to predict the latter from the former. So if someone already has a narrative that people like are amused by, aka or i.e. Catch Me Outside Girl, it's just like, well, okay. Does she have any music ability? No. But as we just established, we're in a post-ability music landscape.
Right.
So, like, make some music.
Right. And plus, it's like, so there's a really good. I'm going to continue my habit of plugging things with much bigger audiences. But there's one of the YouTube music people I subscribe to is Dead End Hip Hop. And they have a really good video where they talk about Jake Paul, because at the time he had hit #2 on iTunes, and I think since he hit #1, and it was his first crappy rap song, which I think we may have looked at, but I don't even remember which episode it was in. It probably got buried in there, and I'm going to work on that not happening in the future so we can maximize our YouTube content. So, which also made me realize that rather than focusing on getting a weekly update thing going, if I just go back and make highlight clips of the previous episodes, it'll seem like I just posted I'll just post one a day, and it'll be like, oh my God, so much content.
So much content.
And so I'm going to focus on that, and then making regular guitar stuff on my other channel. But anyway, so Jake Paul charted, and I'm sure Cash Me Outside Girl will chart somewhere with this thing. The point is that it's both a post ability and post, like, people don't need to be that invested in it, right? Like, people.
I think people don't want to be invested.
Right. But my point is, like, there's a minor investment because they are still buying on iTunes, right? unless they are counting streams now for iTunes.
So for charting and stuff,
Right.
they definitely count streams. There's different. There's
Or Billboard or iTunes though.
I don't know. There's different.
Because I know for Billboard that they're factoring in all this shit.
There's different charts.
But
right?
iTunes specifically, it might be purchases because it's just iTunes and not Apple Music.
Okay.
So that was my theory about people are at least, but that's not a big deal because it's $2. People will buy a song, right?
Right.
One song is not that hard to get people to buy if it's like popular, and so some people still at least pay for a download kind of thing.
But even if they don't, the whole thing is attention economy.
Exactly. Even if they don't, it'll still blow up and it'll still make waves and money just by virtue of if anything gets viewed enough, it'll make money. Right. Exactly. So,
and so they even talk about. Do you want to set this article up?
Yeah. So this is from Stereo Gum.
Yeah. So linked in the Cash Me Outside Girl article, which was also on Stereo Gum, which is how I found out about this. There's this Jake Paul article, and it's titled "Insufferable YouTubers Are Now Making Terrible Rap Music Too." And on here, so they're actually, we're gonna go through this. They talk about some stuff he did, and then stuff like people in his orbit, right, have done, and it tells you the number of views on a lot of these things, and they're all like millions. Like it's insane.
Yeah,
it's insanely high numbers for something of, I don't want to say so little quality because I don't feel like that accurately.
Right. Well,
for like negative quality.
Right. It's he already has an audience. So,
Right.
So he started as a Vine star, which if you weren't paying attention during Vine, it was like it was a 6-second video loop format or like app, I guess. And as a result, like, you know, what you would expect, there were people who basically made quote unquote like comedy skits, but they were 6 seconds long. And occasionally they would be actually funny if it was like an actual comedian, but there's also people who just make lowest common denominator dumb jokes,
you don't have a lot of
type
it's
stuff.
Just like I always say about Twitter, where nuance goes to die.
Yeah.
So it was this Vine was a Twitter thing,
Right.
And
it was like the Twitter of so Twitter is to like, if Twitter is to like Facebook
or blogging, yeah.
Vine is to YouTube. It's like you don't need like a 5-minute video, you need 5 seconds.
Right. And so you don't have a lot of time to set things up or get too deep.
Right.
You have 6 seconds.
So following that, he was on a Disney show, which he recently got fired from because so it was Vine,
because he's a terrible person.
Right. So Vine to Disney to YouTube, and then he has such a big YouTube following. He also started a YouTube incubator, right? So he got like he basically is taking other YouTubers under his wing.
Right. Well, it's a record label.
Right.
He started a record label for people who make internet videos.
Right.
Yeah.
Which is funny because now they're also making records, but
yeah. Well, no. So the thing that's weirdest about this to me is like you're saying, if you have an audience, like you can do like, so crossover now is seen more as like you're smart, like you should be doing that.
Right.
But if you go back to people who are they are relevant today, but like their attempts to cross over were laughed at, right? So good example would be like Russell Crowe, right? Everyone was like, dude, don't make music, right? But the deal is, it's not like the quality cannot get lower than Jake Paul.
Yeah.
Right. So it's just the weird. It's again like preconceptual bias of the observer. Right. It's just this idea that now it's like, well, that's what you do. Whereas if previously it was like stay in your lane. Right. And now it's like, no, you're smart. Like you gotta diversify.
Yeah. Well, it's literally like every rapper.
Portfolio.
It's like at a certain point, it's like it's almost like at a certain point, if you're consistently rapping, like you're not doing it right, because at some point you need to diversify into like being in movies and shit,
50
or
Cent,
being in TV.
DMX,
yeah, exactly.
Like, you got to get on.
And then it becomes the thing where they're just bragging about how they're a fucking businessman or mogul or whatever.
Jay-Z.
Exactly. And so it's like, but then, and my own thing was always like, at some point, some of these people, it was like, when was the last time you rapped? Like, and then it's like nobody gives a shit, because I mean, it kind of ties into the whole trap thing, which is that, in trap, it's like if you like confronted a trap star about the like musicality of the music, they would be like, what are you talking about? It's a product, right? Like
Right.
they kind of get it because they treat it the same way as like trap life, only you don't have to shoot people if you have a hit. You know what I mean? Like it's preferable, but it's almost become like the default thing is like, all right, so first you sell drugs, then you make rap, then you if you maybe keep selling drugs depending on how well the rap's doing, and then if the rap's doing well enough, you don't have to sell drugs anymore. But like it's just but like they keep rapping about how like, but just so you know, I still sell drugs.
So
like it's usually in the rap.
let me pose this question to you. So how much of this Jake Paul stuff did you listen to?
I've only heard the first song and like maybe seconds of one of the like fake beef songs because I couldn't take anymore.
Okay, that's enough. If you
Right.
reached your breaking point, that's enough. Okay, does this actually qualify as rap? Right? Because it's so like I feel like there's a minimal functional like because like what they're doing, you can argue that what they're doing is not rapping because it's so inept. It like
Right.
doesn't like if I just like if I go up to a piano and I mash a piano, people would be like, "You're not playing the piano.
Right.
You're like mashing." I kind of feel like that's what this
But-
is. It almost doesn't qualify as
but-
rap.
If you just play white keys and you kind of just like plink around
There are a lot
carefully.
of there are a lot of white keys. in
There's
this.
this comedian Rory Scovel has a bit in one of his stand-up specials where he like there's way more to it,
Yeah.
but the basic premise is that he pretends to play piano, but he knows I think he at least knows I don't know if he even knows the white key thing, but he knows how to like if you go really he knows the rhythms of bullshit like mall piano playing.
These guys definitely don't know rhythm.
Right. But the beat is
Right.
passable.
It's there. Well,
right?
it's there. Well, someone else can make the beat.
Right, exactly. Well, that's the beauty of rap is if you're a rapsman, all you need to do is rap. So are we gonna watch this fucking thing? Are we gonna watch some of it?
Yeah, if we're brave enough. Feel free to turn it off at any point.
Yeah. We will sample it.
Oh yeah, they all have talk downs.
Oh shit.
They have these fake KFC shirts too.
It's every day, bro, with the Disney Channel flow. 5 mil on YouTube in 6 months. Never
Like,
done
there's
before.
already so much I want to unpack.
Competition, man. PewDiePie is next. Man, I'm popping all these checks. Got the brand new Rolex, and then met the Lambo too. And they're coming with the crew. This is Team 10, bitch. Who the hell up flipping you? And you know I kick them out if they ain't with the crew. Yeah, I'm talking about you. You begging for attention, talking shit on Twitter too. But you still hit my phone last night. It was 4:52, and I got the text approved, and all the recordings too. Don't
I'm already
make
bored.
me tell them the
Yeah,
truth.
feel
Yes,
free
I
to.
just-
That's more.
You get
that's
the
more
idea.
Than enough.
Like it's just more of that, and it's
Okay,
yeah.
there's so many things I want to point out immediately. They're all wearing sweatpants. I don't know what. Okay, so the thing is, so I'm not terribly familiar with Jake Paul, and so when this first hit me, it was like every day, bro. Like, I was like, are you trying to say you're average?
Right. At first I thought it was like I'm an everyday
Right,
bro.
But what they mean is like all day. When
Right.
people are like all day,
but
like,
also like I don't know what all day. Like it's like all day, every day.
I think he means we put out a Vine every day.
Right. Well, because like okay, so like,
Uploading content.
if this
every
was real
day.
trap, it would be every day. I live the trap life,
Right.
right? Like, but here it's like I post YouTube videos
Yeah, they're wearing sweatpants.
and pretend to fight with my
Like,
brother.
It's bizarre because he's like, check out this expensive car and this expensive house and this expensive watch. Oh, and we all have sweatpants.
Also, the fake girlfriend beef is like a fake girlfriend too. Like I don't like in this article, he was like they were not actually dating either. Like everything about it is fake.
I have comments about that. Wait till we get there.
Yeah,
to the ex-girlfriend part
Right.
because that is amazing and I don't people need to see it so they can understand how bad this is. But like no, like this is so bad. Like there's zero flow. It's like who was involved?
But the thing is, like, it's almost it's like I've heard worse flows, right? But that's partially a function of time, which is that the with a few exceptions from like parents, like, you know, literal parents trying to be cool by rapping, like
I'm
the-
so and so
Right.
and I'm here to say
Right. So like the even the lowest bar has like come up a little just by like lowering the barrier. Like there's also, there's more of it and people are more exposed to it. And so like, this is more passable than the equivalent garbage would have been 10 years ago is my point. Like he's closer to an actual flow because there's so much to copy, right? That's part of my thing in general with,
all boats rise with the tide.
a lot of the like people trying to justify like mumble rap stuff, and some of it is like the rhythms, and it's like, yeah, but those rhythms like were there before. Like you could have done them, and then they all use this, they keep using the same one. So it's like it may have been like kind of new and unique for like a minute, but that was several years ago, and it's still like the same kind of flow. Anyway,
so the other thing though is I don't understand what's going on here because
I don't think anybody does.
Well, because but I think they don't either because okay, so we like to make fun of a lot of the pretending to play video, right? So I feel like there's rap video tropes, right? And they're trying to go through them, but they've mixed them up, okay? Because I thought the like look at how wealthy I am rap video trope was you are supposed to be sitting still. Like you are sitting down, you are reclined.
I know what yeah.
And the opulence is around you, right? You can be moving in the car.
Right.
But they're doing the look how they're doing one of two things. They're doing the either like the 80s friendly hip hop, here's our dance crew, or the gangster rap, low camera, here's our tough crew.
They're trying. I think they're trying to do the latter, but they're mixing it with the bling, like you're talking about.
But so they totally have it wrong though, because first of all, this is the least intimidating crew I've ever seen.
Well, no, they're not like they're hard. It's just like this is our crew, but that's as far as I'm sure they can like sort of get their minds around.
We're gonna get to the diss tracks later, and it's the same.
Right.
It's low camera. I don't get it. It's like a weird mashup of all the things that they're like. That's
you didn't think about it very hard
or at all.
Right. But they did get. Look at how much they did get. Low camera, rented Lambo, the house. Like they got like.
Right, but but they didn't use the opulence video template to make the opulence video.
Well, for one thing, they didn't have the studio part because usually there's also like like the white, like all white room thing. Like they didn't have that.
I don't feel like that's mandatory. But
it's not mandatory. But like first of all, they did the one thing because I don't want to defend this shit, but like I read in here that like they did this in like a day or something. So it was kind of like let's just crap this out.
Shocked.
But okay, shit. Now I want to let's see what else here. Let me turn the sound off and let the video roll.
Okay.
So we can spot or like there, just so we can hear.
It's really bad.
Yeah. Like they get the shaky cam, and the like weird like the camera keeps like, the angle it's like rocking, like the camera's not a stabilizer, but you shook it on purpose, kind of thing.
Correct. Yeah, because the camera is clearly on a stabilizer. But like, and then this guy.
Oh, it's also it is the crew one because that's the actual like shitty YouTube crew, and they all take turns.
Oh yeah, I know. They all come in and sing, but again, like they've crossed their wires.
They also don't have any bling because, like you said, they're wearing like t-shirts and sweatpants.
Right? But they're talking about like, oh, I got this nice phone. Here's the nice car. I got this nice watch, and they're like at the fancy house, like.
Their rap gesturing isn't very good, but like
look, if you're gonna do the dance crew thing, you should be on some block in Harlem. Like
right, they're mixing the like Rough Rider crew with the dance crew. Like they're mixing the fucking tough crew and the dance crew, and those don't really go together. And then they're mixing with the tiny amount of bling they could work in.
Oh yeah, he says, "We the future, see you in the past." It should be like, have fun living in the past. Right. Like
when will you be joining us? Because we're in the future. We're gonna time travel. We're so in the future.
And then
I didn't even get this far in it the first time.
Oh yeah, so this is these guys rap in Spanish. It's so bad. But so this is the other thing that I'm like so confused by, right? Because like, so I'm admittedly like not woke enough to understand the nuances of cultural appropriation. Cause like as a white person, right? Like part of the premise of of white culture was like, yes, you can come whiten up, right? That's why when you hear the discussions about like how like Asians went from being like, we put you in internment camps to like the acceptable minority, it was like, well, they sufficiently whitened up or whatever, right? So like, so I don't because coming from someone who's like, our whole point has always been like please come conform to our culture, right? Like I don't understand the cultural appropriation thing. So the other thing is like, I can't grasp how offensive this may or may not be.
Well, honestly,
like,
though, it's not anymore. Like that's already been like done so much. Actually, that's why I was saying I think it is slightly better than they used to be, because I think what has happened is, it has become easier and easier to be a passable white rapper, right? And I think it's a combination of trailblazers like Eminem, like people who actually like took the flack and shit. And so now it's like there's enough white rappers around, and I mean you can be like Macklemore, who like who seems pretty white, like
Lil Dicky.
Lil Dicky, exactly. Well, and this is something that Dead End Hip Hop talked about, because they were talking about this,
right.
like,
and they were talking about Lil Dicky.
We got to talk about the key point that they got into, which was the one dude couldn't get over the whole like, but are they really trying to be rappers? It's like, it doesn't matter. Like, in the sense that they want to make rap
paid.
Right, they're trying to get paid, and but also so are most of the rappers, right? So it's like, go ask your true rappers.
Right. So
like,
the one dude's point was like, the reason this is able to happen is because the bar for rap had already been lowered so far.
Yeah,
it's hard. Like, you can't talk like, oh, there's this high
right, and that's also
art.
where, like, again, like, I think with the cultural thing is there's been so much white rap, whether it's in like serious or even if it's like Lonely Island joke rap, it's still so much of white people doing rap that there's been enough that you can, like, for one thing, like nobody, the only way you get accused of like overdoing the inflection to an offensive degree is if you're like Iggy Azalea and you literally have an accent from a different country.
Oh yeah, like you turn your shit off.
Like, have you heard Little Debbie talk?
No, I haven't.
She doesn't sound like, she doesn't talk like that at all. She talks totally like not normally. Sorry. I would say really white, like suburban, and but then her rap, she's like, yeah, like over, like the inflection is so hard, but that is like the correct way to rap.
So there's a weird thing, because it's like, is it the audio equivalent of blackening up, right? Is it like blackface, or is it?
But that's my point, is that I feel like it was seen that way in the past, and I think we've passed the point where, again, unless you, or at least the amount of it that makes people go, wait a minute, is like much higher.
Well, you remember in Fear of a Black Hat, Vanilla Sherbert, when he's trying to like hang out with them in the green room, he's like, yeah, like, I was raised by a black family, right? Like, he's trying to like establish his blackness,
right? Well, and
there's none of that,
right?
Now.
And right, and so like Eminem, so like guys like Eminem, was from whatever part of Michigan, but like
8 Mile from Detroit,
right? He grew up with that, right? So like, and when you see in interviews, he talks pretty much like he raps, only a little less angry, but like, so.
It's hard to be angry with all that money. Right,
but now you can find a lot of people where you can you just watch an interview and you're like, okay, you can see the because even people who do talk kind of like they rap, there'll still be a difference in intensity, right? Because it's still performance. You're allowed a certain amount of inflection.
Well, right, it's like, I don't sing the way that I talk.
Right.
Like, yeah.
So I think my point is, this is just my personal view and how I feel like the perception of it is. I feel like we're at this point now where like, because like, right, like they say like, oh, well, does he really? Because what they're really trying to say, and what I think is sort of the line between misappropriation and like totally normal like appropriation is, and it's my personal metric for whether I will make a kind of music is like, do I actually like it at all? And it's like, I actually listen to, like, I wouldn't have made hip hop a few years ago at all, right? But now I'm like, I'll make beats or whatever, but it's like I actually listen to some hip hop, so it's not like I'm just like, I'm gonna shit out. I mean, yeah, I am like I'm gonna shit out some beats, but I'm also like I want them to be good, and I actually listen to some of it, and so it's like I have some respect for the music, and I think that's what that guy on Dead End Hip Hop was going for. He wanted it, like what he means by "Are you trying to be a rapper for real?" is do you respect it, and therefore you want to be a part of the thing that you actually
Are you
like.
trying to be part of it, or are you just trying to co-opt it?
Right.
Okay.
And so co-opting, like Jake Paul is, I mean, again, it's such a regular part, a mainstream part of American culture now that I feel like it has moved past that. So it's like, again, unless there's a huge contrast between your rapping and talking, like Iggy Azalea, and even Iggy Azalea, like, well, she's still around, right? Like people are like, ugh, but she's still putting out music, and like she may have lost some audience, but not enough to not to, like she hasn't. I don't think she's been dropped by her label or anything yet. And she also hasn't recently been in trouble for because like half the reason is just that she kept arguing, and people are like, I think it's fine, you know, like people are like, no, just be like, oops, sorry, or whatever,
Right,
and
yeah.
like maybe tone it down a bit, because also she, and again, this part of my perception of it is that what she's doing, if she wasn't white, is like idiomatic to being good at hip hop, right? So like we talk about the bar lowering. The bar lowering includes like the lyrics kind of getting worse, right? Like so, like a lot of people are like, some people are like, oh, it's all about the lyrics because it's rap, right? Like that's what it's about. But then some people are like, yeah, but it doesn't matter if you have a good beat, right? You can listen to it like mumble rap. Nobody can tell us what they're saying half the time. So some people are like, oh, the lyrics don't matter. So if you take the lyrics out of the equation, then what do you have left? You have mainly the inflection, right? So this was also the problem with early like white people or anybody like trying raps, right? So like anybody trying to rap,
raps, yeah.
it's like that was the problem. It wasn't like, even if you could get the rhythms right, it was the inflection, right? So like my name is Matt and I'm here to say, but like the brief period of time when that was a thing rappers said, it didn't sound that different than that, right? But it was still a little more attitude, a little more like obviously also the white like the parents doing bad raps on YouTube like a few years ago, that was a big deal, but now looks like just charming next to this because you're like, oh, they don't know, they're parents. But this guy should be aware of what a tool he is.
So I feel like this is a really weird case because I feel like Jake Paul is co-opting it,
right?
But also I feel like that's standard operating procedure for him,
right?
You should. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter that it's rap. I feel like he would be attempting to co-opt anything,
right? And
if he weren't trying to co-opt something, it wouldn't be Jake Paul,
right?
But I don't know. I'm no Jake Paul expert.
It could just as easily be, you know, that he could make like a bad EDM track or something, or like use autotune or something. But like they said on Dead Hip Hop, like the easiest thing to do to become famous or like get noticed if you're already famous, make a rap song, right?
Yeah.
Like and
right, because you need a beat and
right,
and
they were talking about a lot of people using it as a stepping stone. Like they were saying, even Lil Dicky apparently admitted in an interview that he saw it's really just a stepping stone, and then he wants to do like acting, blah blah blah, and whatever. And that comes back to like my thing, because my thing has always been, I mean, it's not like real musicians, like that's not a thing, right? Like we talked about this.
Right,
it's like
you can't be a fake musician.
Right. My thing was, in my head when I was like real musicians, what I really meant was like serious musicians. But even that is a very subjective thing. So, it's just me just like judging other people who are less good at music. But my whole thing, you know, it was like, but again, to me, it comes down to like, how dedicated are you to it kind of thing. Which again is hard to tell at all from the outset. Like you could just be really bad at it, but you love it. Like William Hung was not like phoning it in, but he was tone deaf. So what are you gonna do?
Right.
Like
it's just there was a ceiling on that.
Right. So in this case, it's pretty obvious Jake Paul isn't like trying to get in the rap game, right? Like it's not like that's another good metric I think is like the rap, like the internal cultural narrative of like everyone's always like, who's the GOAT, right? Who's the greatest of all time? And it's always this thing about like, I'm coming for the #1 spot. But it's like, there's not really a #1 spot. Like, I mean, it seems like but there's really like, there's like who's on top at the top, but like that's not how it works, right? Like there's no trophy. There's no like official.
You still get to die.
Right. You still get to die. And at some point people might not give a shit. And And it's also ridiculous, like, even the rappers who are like, I'm the greatest, I'm gonna be the greatest, they also fuck off and stop rapping for like a decade so they can go buy like a sports team or some shit, because they also got to be a mogul or whatever. And so even but it's just like, that's just what it lends itself to, and it's also been part of the so like, I don't know, my point is that as time goes on, it gets easier to do a convincing version of it with less investment or interest, right? So like you said, anybody can get a beat now, right? Anybody could even probably make a beat.
Yeah, you can on your phone.
If you know, right. But you can still fuck it up and make it really shitty.
Yeah. But you have all the tools.
Right, exactly.
And that was the thing, like, for early hip hop, right, was, you know, that's why it was so sampling heavy, was because all you needed was a turntable.
Right.
Right? And you just looped, you know, the intro to whatever, or whatever your sample was. You just looped that and then rapped over it. Like,
yeah.
And because that's what you had available. Now, what you have available is your phone. So like, it's the limit is your resourcefulness, essentially, with the, you know, because it's like whatever the minimum, like pretty much everybody has a phone at this point, like, you know. So
yeah,
we should watch some, like, another like go no, that one's so, oh, actually, if you want to see, this is less rap and more auto tune.
Oh, that's right. I heard this was the more R&B one.
This one is really bad.
Oh shit. Oh wait, I gotta put it back up.
Yeah.
Oh shit, I broke it. Oh fuck. Stop it.
Just reload the page.
Yeah. Luckily nobody saw any of that because I took it off. All right. Audio.
So this is like the song about, like, he married this girl, and so
But
this
not
is,
really.
Oh, I didn't get
This
all
is
the details.
No, that was fake. That was the thing in the. He didn't actually marry anybody. It was also fake. Oh god. Now this, I think, is close to the line as far as, like, being believable that it's okay for him to rap that way. You know what I mean?
I don't know, it's so bad. Like, I feel like this isn't okay for anyone just because it's so
No,
bad.
I mean in terms of his inflection and whether or not it is culturally
appropriative.
Yeah.
I feel like this was about where I stopped watching, because it's just so bad. And the whole thing about, like, oh, take each other's pants off.
Also,
it's like,
this is Drake's fault. Just so anyone watching, if they're wondering, Drake's fault. This is his music.
oh yeah, I definitely stopped watching because I didn't get to the part where someone else comes in. I'll save the marriage. When it comes to being an uncle, I'll save the marriage. This.
Oh, so what I was gonna say was, like, the correct inflection is like.
Can we stop?
Yes, absolutely. Is both. It's necessary, right? Like, the thing is, you can't, like, be a rapper and sound like a rapper from the 80s or 90s, even the popular ones, right?
Yeah.
So that's part of the thing is, like, it's like if you're gonna rap, like Lil Dicky also, right? He pronounces stuff like a rapper, which used to be like a person of color, right? But that's the thing, like, it's less of a. But at the same time, like, again, like Eminem, it's like it depends where you're from. Sometimes white people talk that way too. So I think there's been enough time and it's become mainstream enough that I think it's moved past. Like, even in that Dead End Hip Hop episode, they were saying it's like, well, you can't really be like, this is our thing and you're ruining it, because it's already everybody else's thing now. Like, it's like the audience is mostly white people buying the albums or downloads or whatever.
They did talk about that. They were like, where's the money coming
like,
from?
People always make jokes about Kanye concerts, all white people, right? It's like,
oh yeah, and well, my friend who went to Drake and Future, she's South American, and she was like, it was all white people.
Yeah.
Like,
and like, so it's like, even the stuff is like, that's, you know, coming out of Atlanta. It's like, it comes out of Atlanta, but once it goes mainstream, it's mainstream. And it's like, and that means a bunch of white people are listening to it. So it's like, you can only get so, hey, because otherwise you're telling your audience to fuck off, basically. Not that they are paying much attention to the words you're saying, but whatever.
okay, so we gotta listen to Go Down.
We got to actually watch this news clip too, because this is why he got kicked off his Disney
channel?
show. Because not only so their neighbors in West Hollywood keep complaining because they do stuff like they burned a mattress in the swimming pool, which like they don't know how fire works, I guess, and it's just this huge, like somebody had to call a fire department, is a whole thing. And then the news came, and this is like Jake Paul dealing with the news.
That's right, Rick and MB. He is a social media megastar. His name is Jake Paul. We should note he has been a guest on the KTLA 5 morning show, but tonight we visited his West Hollywood neighborhood because of complaints from neighbors. This is a story you will see only on 5.
And the internet.
I was gonna say, and everywhere.
Social media and internet sensation Jake Paul thrills his fans with wild stunts and antics. The 20-year-old Disney actor is a pop culture powerhouse with 8.5 million followers on Instagram and YouTube. He rents a large house in an upscale West Hollywood neighborhood, and this tight-knit community has become the new setting for many of his pranks and performances.
The neighbors hate me, but I'm still gonna flip and send it.
And he made his address public and basically told people to show up. So part of it is that there's constantly crowds of like teenagers hanging around and shit.
He apparently makes his address no secret, and that piece of information
or I
draws
can
a
just let him say that right
stream of fans, mostly
Have faith
young
in the
girls who
reporting.
they visited, and their parents to the property.
He's funny. Savage.
Savage?
Yeah.
A recent stunt involved
He's like,
tossing
could you explain to the
furniture
old
into
people what that
and
term
setting the
means?
pile on fire. Neighbors say flames eventually grew higher than the house, and as the pit was burning and smoking, they were fuming.
We used to be a really nice, quiet street, and now we're just this, like, war zone. We're families here, and we're more than happy to have them live here if they're respectful of their neighbors, but they're not.
But as neighbors living with this every day, we're fed up.
Look at them. Shortly after we arrived, look who came out to greet us.
Jake, Channel 5!
Yeah, they're not subscribed.
Jake, Channel 5! Are we live?
Hablamos español también.
Oh, está bien, te amo mucho.
Jake, I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't crawl up there.
So like, do we want to start a pool for when he's going to get arrested for something? Because like,
No, why?
They say that you've created a living hell out here. That it's like a circus.
Yeah, it is.
All the fans.
I mean, but
the
people like
stunts,
going to
the-
circuses, right?
What do you say?
People like going to, like, there's this whole dark carnival thing that I heard about.
Honestly, no, honestly, yeah. it's
people love
terrible.
it.
It's a bad situation. No, I feel bad for them, for sure. There's nothing we can do, though. The Jake Paulers are the strongest army out there. Dab. I have one question for
He just dabbed.
yeah. He also said they're the strongest army out there.
Yeah, like, I mean, if you're, like, you have the Kiss Army, and then you have the
Neighbors
Jake
I spoke with
Paulers.
tell me next week they're going to have a
Wait, why did we
meeting
just get a
with
shot of his
leaders
shoes?
and
I'm very
police
confused.
And code enforcement officials.
Oh,
and
because
so
the guy
forth.
said something. Jake Paul said something about his shoes.
Oh.
Like he commented, like,
Did
"My
he-
shoes or something. Like
Did he then dab afterwards? Is
Probably.
that, okay.
Probably.
Yeah, so that was that was offensive. Okay, yeah. So we gotta watch the diss track that his brother made. Actually, this is pretty
This is
bad
other,
too.
Other
This is-
YouTubers responding.
So this is like his ex-girlfriend. This is the one that claimed he was abusive, but I don't know in what capacity.
yeah.
Like I did not research this very well. This, like, I just saw this article and it caused me a lot of distress. So it's basically
And
like,
Rice Gum is another big YouTuber who I don't know what he does, but I've heard of him. So he's
hopefully it's not rap because he's not good at it. But they basically parody all of the Jake Paul moves with the. They actually show. There's a shot in here where they show Jake Paul's videos in the background on a projection.
I just heard the song Team 10, now I hate y'all. Logan, that will be your last hit like an 8-ball.
Nah, wrong call, yeah, it's Jake, like from State Farm.
That line's actually funny. Like Jake from State Farm.
Ride your brother's nuts, you're a squirrel for his acorn.
Hey, you got girls, where they at? Are you serious? Hey, didn't see him like George, I'm just curious. Hey, unless I said you come fast like the Furious. Diss tracks, you are my reflection like a mirror is. Wanna flex on my wrist, I put some ice on it. I wanna make her with it, maybe put some rice on it. Talk shit, now I'm on your head like some lice on it. Heard you used to bully kids back in high school. Second part for the kill, that's what rice do.
See the videos in the background?
Yeah. Like you. Gotta put this rice in this beef like some Thai food. You ain't got no bars.
I don't get I don't get these parts though where he keeps talking about. I mean, you said his name's Rice Gum, but I don't get what put the rice in it. But then he talks about him not having bars. But I'm like, not sure you wanna.
Right. This is like,
It's every day, bro, with the same bully flow. Bully at school, now you bullying your bro. Diss your own brother, I don't really get it though. Stop.
Okay,
that was fake, so
you hear the hint of auto-tune there, right? But she has to hype the next thing. Like, so we should probably go watch the next video now because this is important. There's continuity here. Okay, this one. Okay, so this is just a disaster. So this is like his older brother.
This is okay. Did I get him wrong? Or did I even claim the wrong one this whole time? Is it one of them is named Logan and one is named Jake?
Yeah.
And their last name is Paul, so I can't remember which
Logan
is which.
is his older brother.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, you're right. But that means he's the one we've been talking about.
No, we've been talking about Jake Paul.
I thought no, the older brother is the more successful one.
Well, this whole thing, we just watched the news.
Oh, you're right.
Video about Jake Paul, but Logan Paul is his brother.
Wait, then which one is?
What's the mystery?
Oh, okay. I guess it is. Oh, I thought it was the younger brother because Jake's the more famous one. So never mind. That's all right.
So he makes this terrible diss track.
Hey Jake, I made one phone call. I got the same house as you, same cars too. It's really not that hard. Oh hey, by the way,
he looks like the bully in an '80s movie.
Good, huh?
Yeah.
But let's not forget how you got here.
Johnny LaRusso.
Little brother
Jake. Sorry, Johnny Lawrence.
I forgot. This is also a lyric video. He puts it at the bottom.
Which is not a good idea when your lyrics are this bad.
Yeah.
That you call a song. It should be every other day. Just some strong advice. I made you famous once. It's about to happen twice.
Well, maybe I can't tell them apart because they also look the same.
That's me. Don't forget, boy, you were my shadow on Vine. Now you gotta.
You were my shadow on Vine.
Yeah, so I got it. All right, so the younger one is all right.
You got bars.
You got bars.
You ain't thankful for your fans. It's kind of funny. Do your investors know Team 10 ain't making any money?
So I think Team 10 is his quote-unquote record label thing.
Yeah.
I think you kinda salty cause I'm the favorite son. I'm a maverick, you're a sidekick, yeah, I brought you to LA. If there's one thing you should know, you don't fuck with the low gang.
The low gang. Okay, so then it's the same, they do the same thing where like they have their crew, they all have these like haircuts.
Honestly, I think so far all of these people are equally bad at rapping.
Yes. This seems like more coherent.
Yeah.
It's still not good by any measure. But okay, and then this is okay. We're almost to the payoff. Biologically, you know that makes us brothers. That is how biology works.
You just need a maverick shirt. When you insult me, Jakey, it really hurts.
Which is why I've been insulting you for like 2 minutes now.
But now I gotta go and
Put you in the dirt?
You might kill your brother.
Okay.
Wait, hold up. Hold up, why'd the music stop? Oh, that's a listen.
Okay, so just so you know, if you happen to be listening to this song, there is no Alyssa Violet. Because he just points to her.
Right.
She never says anything. She's just
So
here.
if you're listening to the track,
Right.
you know what you're like,
He goes, he goes, why did the music stop? And he goes, that's Alyssa Violet. And you'd be like, that explains nothing.
So it's like maybe you're supposed to think she like came in the studio and fucked up the track. Like, why did the music stop? Oh, your ex-girlfriend came in and messed up the recording.
Fucked the whole thing up. No, but like, right. She just like shows up and then he points to her and then she's there.
But she doesn't actually.
And then he's like, you call it Team 10 because you take 10%? It's like, you should be taking more than that if you want to be liquid. Like, yeah, and then he's like, oh, you had to go get Spanish people? Like that, like this
Those two guys.
right, but also it's like he's saying like, oh, you had to like mix in your crew. Like it's
Right, it doesn't.
really questionable.
Yeah.
I'm really not understanding what's going on here. His sweatshirt says Savage though, so maybe that's to let you know he's a savage.
Cut away before.
Join the strongest family on the internet. Low gang for life. Yeah, so this is garbage. Is the same dog video?
So okay, so like they mentioned at some point, let's see. Okay, so that's his real ex-girlfriend, but the one with like the ballad or whatever is a fake girlfriend.
The ballad, fake wife.
Fake wife.
I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah. There was like they had like a fake marriage video or whatever too. And I don't know who this. I don't know if we want to hear that one. The best line in this article is,
fill.
and let's just say what she's. This is about one of these other YouTube because there's just more of the same.
Right, people in the orbit.
I doubt it's any better and it can't be any worse. So like there's no point listening to these other ones. But the best part of this is describing one. They say, and let's just say what she's shoveling really makes me long for the halcyon days of Paris Hilton's Stars Are Blind. Scott Storch. Could have made a better beat.
You should have not gotten your haircut at the same time. Maybe should have focused on the beat.
Wait, oh, that's just a different article.
Yeah, no, this shit's garbage, man. This is really bad.
But they're all charting. If they have the followers, then they chart.
No,
so,
that's what I'm saying. We are in a post-ability landscape. It's like this is the result of the attention economy in some ways. Like this is the unfortunate side effects. I guess this is the price to pay for the attention economy.
Right. Yeah, and it's so this is just gonna keep happening. There's gonna be more and more. But I mean, I don't like. Yeah, I don't know what else to say about it. It's pretty bad.
I feel like part of me wants to feel like, well, it can't get any worse. Like this is rock bottom, right? Because most things are like,
well, and part of why the thing with this, like I said, I feel like part of why it works is they did hit because of technology, basically, right? It's like you almost can't make a rap song. You'd almost have to try to make it bad enough for people to go, stop that, right? Like if you have a bunch of dumb YouTube fans, they're not gonna go like, what are you doing trying to rap and shit? Because it's passable enough, right? The beat's passable enough. They said words into a microphone. It sort of was in a rhythm.
Right. It's like it's just like the thing when someone plays a couple chords on the guitar and it's like it's music. Like you did the thing, and and most people are like, I mean, that's like because they don't have the discerning, and they're just like, it has all the elements of the thing, therefore it must be the thing, and you did it, so it's good. And so, like, part of me wants to be like, this is rock bottom. The pendulum's going to swing back. But at the same time, there's also the whole concept of race to zero. And like, I always say, like, everything trends towards efficiency, right? Like, for better or worse. And as long as there's money to be made, I feel like it's
as far as swinging back, it could swing back in the sense that like I don't think it's going to go away, but it could swing back in the sense there could be a sort of counter move towards.
Well, there could be other people who maybe in the past would have been like, I want to get successful, and are now going to be like, I don't want to be this. I don't want to be Jake Paul. Like, let me, like, this is something I actually care about. Like, what, like, how can I be serious about this?
Actually, yeah, it may create, they may establish that this level of, like, phoning it in rap is, like, okay, yeah, like you said, I don't want to be like Jake Paul, basically, but at the same time, but what we need to what needs to happen is like someone like him needs to like crash and burn, right? Like he needs to like I said, like when's he gonna get arrested or something? Because like, or somebody was saying that they were surprised that well, there's also the hip on. They were saying surprised that his because he has investors, because like I don't think he's paying for that house, like somebody else.
Yeah.
And they were like, well, how do they feel about it? Because there's all these complaints. It's like, yeah, but the money's still coming? Like, you know.
Right. Well, no, so the thing that would actually, because I feel like him getting arrested wouldn't be that big of a deal.
Right.
I feel like if
it's rap, it might make him more legit.
If somebody like died at the property, right? So then there's like a liability.
Oh, like financial liability. Yeah.
Right. That's what could derail this. Is like,
yeah.
What do you mean this girl did a bunch of cocaine that I may have given her, and she was also drinking, and then did a bunch of heroin, and her heart stopped. You know, especially if it's like one of these underage girls that like her mom brought her here, whatever. Like, that would shut him down, quick.
Right. Yeah.
But like, who knows? Like, dude, like he didn't like again in none of these people's like, look how baller this shit is. Like, nobody was drinking. Like, who knows? Maybe they're sober. Maybe who knows? Maybe, maybe they don't even touch stuff.
Well, he did. Okay, so he at least he got kicked off a Disney show, and so it doesn't necessarily mean that he's completely out with Disney. It just means that they're gonna like he's not like clean enough to be on a Disney show, but like he's also old enough already to have like had he been like if he were say he had started as like a Disney rapper, like say Disney was like, you should do this, you should make raps, like he's already old enough to do well. He doesn't even need to do the transition because he's a guy, so like women have to do the whole like, you know, I'm sweet and innocent, now I'm sexy, right? Like they do that thing and then they all do it, and then it's like, now I'm sexy, and now I'm like, and now like Taylor Swift's thing, like I'm mean now. It's like, yeah, whatever.
Well, but so here's the question though, is so like all those teenage girls that are fans of him now, like in 4 years when they're not teenage girls, are they still going to be into him, or are they going to be like, oh, that was like this, I was a kid, like that was a dumb thing, and then and then are there going to be like new teenage girls into him, or is he going to be like old then, and so like it's going to be over?
Yeah, well, there'll be a different Jake Paul. He'll have to he has to transition into
that's what I'm saying. He'll have to transition into something most likely,
because the
he'll
only
get
reason
replaced.
because the only reason this is working is because he has that young audience, and that's the same reason that a lot of the pop stuff works.
Disney.
Yeah. But like it's also, again, it's like Taylor Swift is, I would say, you know, mostly supported. Now she's been around a while, and so like again, they're doing a good job of branding as they get older, branding them as adult pop stars if they have a label managing it, right? Like he's not.
But the thing is,
in control.
but Taylor could continue like. If her thing is supposed to be like, oh, like everyone goes through heartbreak, whatever, like she can get 10 years older, and new 14-year-olds can like still dial into that message. Like, so that's not the same. She's not on the same.
I think it's more my point is like, I think because of what he's doing and how this is sort of just another random thing he's doing.
Yeah, he'll probably move on to some other thing.
And here's another interesting. I keep going back to the dead end hip hop thing, but they brought up good topics that I then was like, here's what you're missing, and they didn't get to it because we're, you know, like we were talking about, like, like one guy's obsessed with the whole like real rapper thing, and it's like that doesn't matter. It's not a thing. Oh yeah, like anytime that you get into a conversation like, is it real art? Is it real music? Is it blah blah? It's like those are not relevant. avenues of conversation, just say it's all that,
right?
But some of it's bad, right? Like
yeah.
it's all art, like because there also is the idea people are like everything's art, right? A flower is art. Like okay, fine, everything's fucking art. Let's get over that. That's shit art. That's shitty shit art. Mr. Brainwash, bullshit art, right?
Well, the other thing is art can also be confused,
right?
Like again, if you have revisionist history art, like yeah, it's art. It's confused art. Like, it's real confused.
Yeah. So, I don't know. It'll be interesting to see what happens. I'm hoping that, because most of his shtick involves being a tool, basically, that, like, that should get old as he gets older, but then there are older tools, too. But he might need to adapt in some way.
Older tools, I feel like Older Tools 2 is the name of but the number 2 is the name of a bad sequel.
Old Tools is already like one of those, like, we got these 3 like super famous actors, but they'll do anything now because they're old and they don't give a shit. Old Tools, and then Old Tool 2 where one of them like
direct to DVD version.
Where only one of them came, like only the most desperate one of the original 3 came back, and then they got 2 other like B or C-list guys to like one of them's like
who look vaguely like the guys from the other one,
yeah,
but they're clearly like new characters.
Like Jim Belushi is in Old Tools 2, and oh god. I don't know. I need another Jim Belushi off the top of my head. I can't. But yeah, I don't know. But yeah, so this is gonna be a thing now. The interesting thing, well, actually, okay. So the most interesting part about "Cash Me Outside" Girl getting signed, I don't think we even need to listen to her rap. Like it literally sounds like that, but with her annoying.
No, but whoever made the beat is clearly a pro.
Oh, really?
She has a pro beat.
So maybe the signing is involved, like they got her a beat.
Oh, is she on their crew?
No. I mean, she got signed to a label.
Yeah.
But like, I only
she clearly had no creative input.
My point is, she got signed to a label and then probably
That's
made
it. These hoes.
Oh yeah,
Danielle Bregoli. These hoes. This is a pro beat. You need to put it up. She's like, what, 15 or something?
Something like that, but I feel like... Yeah, I don't
know. Bhabie.
It's supposed to be baby, but
whatever. I thought it was supposed to be like Barbie. But you hear that?
Yeah.
Like, that's like someone who actually has a synth. There's counterpoint. And they're making fun of some of these other people. But you see, like, it has
a real
cadence,
trap beat,
right?
Yeah.
And you hear the synth bass thump.
Also, her voice is properly processed to fucking back.
Oh, right, yeah. But they already did, like, this has form. They had the intro part, and then this is phrase or theme 2.
Wait, the Jake Paul one didn't have a hook at all, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
They run in their mouth, they so petty. These hoes they feed off attention. 0 time, that's what I give.
Notice the logo blur on the satellite dish.
Money green like a sea low. Yeah, my pockets so swollen. I ain't nothing like these hoes.
This is also like straight up trap / mumble rap. And she already mumbles, so it's perfect for her.
The protest she wishes will materialize.
Right.
Money green like a sea low. Yeah, my pockets so swollen. Look, these hoes be like it, see me in a bike and they talk hella shit, but don't say it in person.
Yeah, I mean,
she probably has some ghost written verses in there too, I would bet.
Oh yeah. Like, I seriously think she had extremely minimal, if any, input on this. And, like, it has form. This is an actual trap. Like, irrespective of you know, whether you like this or think it's quality or not, there's a very marked difference between this and everything we just listened to.
All right, so from now on, I'm just gonna compare my beats to the shit to this, and Jake will be like,
"Where's it on the scale?"
Right.
Have I graduated to Bad Barbie? Oh wait, baby. Sorry. What's with the like?
Oh, it's slow. It's short as shit too.
Yeah. Right. She's smart. She's like, it's like time. You gotta turn this off before. Oh, this is our other track.
Oh, this is
I didn't listen to this. Oh, is this just some? Wait, who made this?
Oh yeah, this isn't. I don't think this is real. This is somebody.
So why does it say official? What account is this
Or maybe
on?
it.
Because
Well, it's from WorldStar.
Is
it is on her account.
No, it's on her account.
Well, but somebody else just like
That's
made it with
weird.
a sample of her, and then they
Yeah.
like probably sold it to her.
Oh, it's really bad.
Yeah. Anyway. So music's over. Like at the beginning of that one Key of Awesome video where they're like, Migos, Katy Perry, who's worse? Music is dead. Alrighty, let's make some gin. I don't know. Anyway. Alrighty. I think we covered that pretty well.
I just want to say, I'm sure, like, if everything we've said on here has made you really mad, you should come on the show and enlighten us, because we, like,
I really can't imagine anyone
I really
stumbling on this.
I really do not know what to think about this stuff. Like it is. It is mind blowing in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
So please enlighten us if we've gotten it wrong, because
yeah,
it's interesting.
Or leave us comments about how we're just haters. You can do that too. That's the mark of success. One down.
And then we can make shirts about like haters or something. Yeah. And wear those.
All right. Cool. Your music is bad and you should feel bad. I'm turning it off now.